Did you read the last story? This issue is even more exciting. Welcome to subscribe. Chapter 15. The bloody Petri dish in the London laboratory. Leonardo's perspective. The mist from the East End of London seeped through the iron-barred windows of the Dracula laboratory. Leonardo Dracula's fingertips glided across the microscope slide. Isabella's blood sample emitted an eerie double helix fluorescence under the cold light. The bloody embryo suspended in the Petri dish was twitching, and the newly grown rose-shaped pattern on its spine exactly matched the virus totem inside his wedding ring. "Sir, new blood samples from Paris," said the assistant, presenting a metal tray. The liquid in the glass test tube was faintly resonating. It was scraped from under the fingernails of the opera singer, mixed with the blood stain from Isabella's hand. Leonardo's pupils contracted behind the eyepiece. The red blood cells in the sample were autonomously repairing the damaged gene chains, like tiny silver gears being reassembled. "The stability of the half-breed gene is 73% higher than that of Elizabeth," he said, pressing his pen hard enough to leave a deep mark in the experimental log. The moment the ink came into contact with the blood sample, the outline of the rose-shaped birthmark in the Notre Dame underground palace emerged. November 20th, 1897. The truth why type B blood-resistant humans are not infected. Her blood is not an antibody but a perfect culture medium for the virus. Suddenly, the alarm of the incubator rang. The bloody embryo numbered LW-7 contorted in the nutrient solution, and a rose-shaped birthmark identical to the one on Isabella's right shoulder appeared on its chest. Leonardo tore off his white coat, revealing a virus double helix tattoo on his left arm that matched the pattern of his wedding ring. Under the fluorescence of the embryo, the tattoo wriggled like a living thing. The champagne tower from the 1914 wedding collapsed in his memory. Elizabeth's wedding dress train swept across the laboratory floor, and the first-generation blood glimmered in the crystal glass. "Leon, you said the virus is the key to divine evolution?" She inserted the blood-stained syringe into the inside of the wedding ring. "Then will our child be the first blood race who can walk in the sunlight?" In reality, Leonardo stroked the indentation inside the wedding ring, where the crystal of the first-generation blood injected by Elizabeth had once been embedded. At this moment, the crystal was lying at the bottom of the Petri dish, absorbing Isabella's blood sample, and the pattern of a human heart was gradually emerging on its surface. "Her blood can make the virus infect both humans and the blood race," he whispered to the embryo, just as he had once spoken to the dying Elizabeth. "Remember the reliquary we found under the Arctic ice layer? The first-generation blood inside has been waiting for 500 years to integrate into the genes of this vessel." The experimental log was turned to the latest page. Leonardo stared at the words he had written at 3 a.m. Characteristics of the perfect host. 1. The AB-type half-breed blood activates the dominant expression of the virus double helix. 2. The skin tissue at the birthmark can autonomously repair burns from silverware. 3. The blood generates a resonance frequency with the consciousness of the first-generation prince. A program from the 1897 Paris opera fell out between the pages. On the back was drawn the silver moon mark on the back of the neck of the lead opera singer, in the same shape as Isabella's rose-shaped birthmark. Leonardo suddenly laughed, and the laughter startled the laboratory mice on the iron rack. Those creatures injected with the first-generation blood were scratching rose patterns on the glass with their bloody claws. "Sir, a confidential letter from the Ventru Council," the assistant said, his voice trembling. The silver letter opener on the tray was engraved with the Dracula family emblem. "They demand the immediate execution of the half-breed vessel, calling it the shame of the Holy See." Leonardo crushed the letter opener with his fingers. Silver powder mixed with blood dripped onto the log, just covering the word execution. "Tell the council that the vessel's heart is under the Arctic ice layer, and in my Petri dish," he pointed at the bloody embryo that was differentiating into a human-like form. "There's already a second vessel." The elevator in the underground laboratory rumbled, a signal that a new batch of type B blood humans was being transported. Leonardo took off his wedding ring and pressed it against the Petri dish. The virus double helix pattern and the silver moon mark on the embryo's ankle suddenly resonated, and a three-dimensional projection of the Arctic ice layer emerged in the nutrient solution. On the winter solstice of 1897, the ice layer crack will appear for 3 hours, he said to the embryo, as if Elizabeth were listening. Back then, the church sealed the prince with the blood of 7 holy maidens. Now we'll use her half-breed blood to revive the virus. You said this is the inevitable path for the evolution of the blood race, right? Elizabeth's laughter in his memory mixed with the beeping of the incubator. Leonardo took out the blood-stained wedding dress from the hidden compartment, a sacred object soaked with the first-generation blood on the wedding day in 1914. When he put a piece of the wedding dress into the Petri dish, the embryo's pupils suddenly contracted into a double helix shape, exactly the same as Isabella's pupils when she first mutated at the opera. To the Dracula Council, the Paris vessel has the rare trait of stabilizing the virus gene. Her blood can serve as the perfect carrier for the ice core virus. I hereby apply to lead the team in person. Objective: capture the vessel alive and complete the immortality experiment that Elizabeth left unfinished. Attachment: the crystal of the first-generation blood is enclosed. The resonance frequency between it and the vessel's blood has been calculated. Leonardo Dracula. The moment the wax seal was stamped, Leonardo stared at the rose mark on the edge of the letter, paper. It was imprinted with Isabella's blood. Screams came from the adjacent laboratory. The new batch of serum soldiers were undergoing virus integration, and their bones showed rose-shaped crystallization in the moonlight, the same as Isabella's. Sir, the North Star chart shows that the winter solstice crack will open ahead of schedule. The assistant burst in, holding a dripping parchment, which was exactly the North Star chart on the back of the City Hall list in Chapter 5. And this, found in the Paris sewer. Leonardo took the yellowed manuscript. On the copy of the 1462 Holy War mural, the rose-shaped birthmark of the Holy Maiden was circled in red, and beside it were the words written by Adrian White. Type B, blood is the key. AB, type, is the lock. His gaze swept across the London map on the back of the manuscript. The coordinates of the Dracula laboratory marked with a red circle were resonating with the heartbeat frequency of the embryo in the Petri dish. Suddenly, the Petri dish emitted a harsh beep. The bloody embryo's fingers scratched across the glass, leaving the same palm print as Isabella's. Leonardo leaned closer to observe and found 2 glowing masses in its chest. One was a silver moon formed by the virus, and the other was a rose composed of human blood. So that's how it is, he said softly, pressing the double helix pattern inside the wedding ring against the Petri dish. Your father used the purifying blood of the Ventru and human type B blood to create a virus-balancing body in you. But the evolutionary blood of the Draculas is the key to opening the new world. The embryo suddenly opened its eyes. Its pupils were flowing bloody double helixes, exactly the same as the virus core Leonardo had found under the Arctic ice layer. He took out a silver test tube with a trembling hand and mixed Isabella's blood with the embryo's nutrient solution. The moment the 2 liquids came into contact, the lights of all the incubators turned rose-colored. Prepare the ice. Breaking ship. He stuffed the experimental log into a lead box. The last page had Isabella's silhouette pasted on it. We're going to Paris to bring the vessel home. And by the way, let the Ventru Council see how the shame in their eyes becomes the new god of the blood race. Deep in the hidden compartment, Leonardo's personal diary became visible in the candlelight. 1890 winter, Elizabeth first met the Moreau couple. That human woman named Marie. The rose-shaped birthmark on the side of her neck made the first-generation blood resonate. She was destined to be the vessel, and our child will be the perfect substitute for the vessel. 1895 summer. Charlotte White's ashes were forged into a silver dagger. That guy Adrian actually believed that using his late wife's ashes could awaken the humanity of the vessel. The virus is the most perfect form of humanity. It will make the weak evolve and the strong immortal. 1897 autumn, when the opera singer mutated, I knew the vessel had awakened. The moment her blood dropped on the mural, the reliquary under the Arctic ice layer started to melt. Elizabeth, can you see it? Our ear is coming. Closing the diary, Leonardo raised a champagne glass filled with a mixture of the first-generation blood and Isabella's serum towards the Petri dish. To our daughter, he said softly, she will be more perfect than the vessel. She will lead the virus to conquer the Arctic and let the silver moon curse spread across the globe with the ocean current. Suddenly, The embryo's fingers clasp the glass, scratching the name Elizabeth in blood on the Petri dish, the name of Leonardo's late wife, and the name he gave to this virus creation. In the distance, the whistle of the ice breaking ship sounded, a signal to go to Paris and the prelude to the end of the world. This issue ends here. The next issue will be even more exciting. Subscribe as soon as possible.